Hey guys, Baddies Africa, episode 9. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. And if you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. So we start this episode off with Natalie calling Tinkerbella to argue with Cole K about this song, and also to give Tinkerbella a storyline and a way for her to return next season. So she basically told K she's gonna smack her when she drops her baby. Tinkerbella's gonna come right back to Baddies as soon as she gives birth, which is insane. But I definitely think we're gonna see her, K Rican, and Cole K on the next season because they're building a storyline for the three of them. Between Cole K and Tink on the show, along with DTV, and then K Rican is backing up Cole K online and getting into it with Tinkerbella. So it's probably gonna be 2 versus 2. But we'll just have to see, because I would like to see how that's going to play out. Like, is Diamond really going to just fully take Tink's side, or is she going to play it neutral? Because she is cool with K Rican, for sure. Like, she's definitely cool with K Rican and Fauna. And her and Cole K beef just don't seem that deep. It's like they kind of be talking and cool sometimes. So, yeah. Even in the episode, K Rican was popping it in Cole K's defense. She was like, you know, Tinkerbella talking about Cole K is boring. She can't be that boring because you copied her song. So from there, thankfully, they get Tinkerbella off the phone and they continue the talent show. So Dolly goes up there and she's trying to perform Run Me That, but she had the same technical difficulties that Cole K had. Like, her track wouldn't play. So she was trying to go a cappella for a second, but then she just gave it up and let Lex go. Lex started rapping. I don't know why Lex is trying to rap. It's not for you, babe. Stick to basketball and fighting. But when Dolly went up there and said that she was going to perform Run Me That, Natalie was like, oh yeah, DTB, it's so many people on your ass right now. Of course she would find that funny because she still really don't like DTB. She just playing it cool with DTB because she don't want to fight DTB herself. So she rather like set up people who are her minions to have beef with DTB and just enjoy watching it happen, like Dolly. So then Pretty P went up there, she started rapping. She had K Rican and Ivory as her like background dancers or backup dancers. Ivory was next. She had Pretty P and Diamond as her background dancers, and she basically did a little rap and said something like she loved Tasiki, but she not getting 8, she can't. And the fans was trying to make something of it, like to try to start a beef between Ivory and Tasiki, but Tasiki was like, I don't take that no type of way. I love Ivory. And Ivory was like, yeah, it wasn't no shade. Like, I love Tasiki, like I said in the rap, but I can't get 8. Like, don't try to start a problem because I said nobody could beat me up. And Ivory also had mentioned like Melanie and Legacy in her freestyle rap or her verse. I don't know if it was written or not, but you know, those are like her ops from Now That's TV. So it was definitely a cute little verse. And Ivory was like, I feel like I should be winning the 5K that Natalie says she's giving away. And most of the fans agreed. Somebody else ended up winning. I'm sure y'all know who. But I saw a poll and like 60-something% was saying like, I don't feel like the right winner was chosen and I had somebody else in mind. I think most people felt like Ivory should have been first place and maybe the person who won, which was Choco Brown, should have been second place. You know, the Bad Black Bitch song was a mess, but it was like funny and it was like unifying. Like, it wasn't no shade and they kind of brought all the girls together. You know, Ivory's did have some shade in there a little bit to other people who not necessarily on the cast, but to other people in general. So like, Choco's was more positive, I'll give her that, but Ivory's was a little better sounding. And Rolly said, all I know is Natalie better actually send Choco to 5K, because just like I told y'all, last season on Midwest, they did the corn maze challenge. Rolly and Jayla won and they didn't get their money. Natalie claimed everybody gonna get money and they gonna break it up. I'm sure nobody got nothing. Okay, from there we get our quick montage. The girls are getting ready to go out to the club. So we got K Rican, Cole K, Choco Brown, LC, and then Lex and Dolly. Dolly always doing Lex hair. Like I said, I don't like them, but I do like the friendship they have and the loyalty they have. I just think it's not good for Lex image, and I don't know if Dolly and Summer really like her or if they just using her as muscle. But I do like that, you know, we always see them doing each other's hair and helping each other out. And on their way out, Russian was basically saying, you know, she don't really get along with a lot of the girls in the house, but she's hoping that she could have a good time tonight and maybe get to know some people that she hasn't really gotten a chance to know yet. So the girls are getting on their 2 buses to go to the club. So you see how it's split. This one has like Rolly, K Rican, Tavii, Fauna, Cole K, and I believe Ivory. And then the other bus has Choco, LC, Russian, Dolly, Lex. And as soon as they got in their car, Dolly was popping it like, oh, I like this crowd that I'm on the bus with. I don't have to worry about people sneaking me and dissing me. And Lex was like, Dolly is already starting. Like, I hope we can have fun tonight in her confessional. Like, let's have fun, Dolly. But that's your friend and you never check her. So if you want to have a good time, maybe you should tell your friend, let's not start no drama tonight. Let's chill tonight. But you never say that. So on this bus here, Russian is popping it, and she's basically like, oh yeah, K Rican be picking and choosing. She want to keep fighting me, but she ain't want to fight Choco after Choco beat her up. Well, Choco and her talked it out on a bus that you wasn't on, because nobody likes you. And Lex was basically agreeing that, you know, people be picking and choosing. So I guess not only Tavii, but also K Rican in her mind. Then Russian started trying to tell them about the whole argument she had with Tavii. Tavii telling her she was fake and she should have jumped in and throwing the ice pack at her. And Choco was like, in her confessional, she said, I kind of feel where Tavii is coming from. Russian should have had her back if that was her friend. Now, Choco wasn't in the house the whole time, so she don't really know the dynamics to be speaking on it. But from what she's been told, Tavii, Elsie, and Russian was a trio. So it do make Russian look crazy that you didn't help your friend. Then on this bus with Rolly, Fauna, and them, they start talking about the whole situation Dolly had with Fauna and the rest of the new girls, as far as feeling like she should be getting her hair done before them. Fauna, Cold K, and Tavii was just saying what we all been saying. Dolly's a hater, and she just be too worried about other people instead of herself. From there, the girls get to the club. They have a good time. You see Dolly is on stage, like, dancing with the actual club dancers. They had a African rapper or musician come through to the hosting with them. Her name was Nadia Nakai. So she's, like, supposed to be well known in Africa. But then all of a sudden, Natalie has Dolly get on the mic and start performing her diss to Diamond, Run Me That, while they in the club. So Ivory, Diamond, and Pretty P hear it, and they start telling the crowd to boo her. They're like giving the thumbs down, like, boo. And Ivory said in her confessional, bitch, you suck and you stink. So then after that, Natalie passes the mic to Diamond and says, yeah, Diamond, I need you to get messy. So of course, Diamond performs Line It Up. Pretty P, Ivory, and surprisingly, Tavii are behind her. Low-key, even Lex is behind her. Look at her smiling while Diamond is performing when Diamond took her wig off. Because when Diamond gets hyped, she takes her wig off while she performs. So she did that, and Lex was cheesing and laughing and stuff. Like, Lex really likes the other girls, but she got this effed up loyalty to Summer and Dolly. Because it's like you loyal to the wrong people. You loyal to a fault, babe. And it's funny because you could tell Dolly actually likes Diamond's music. She likes Line It Up. Like, she be vibing and dancing to it. The same way she's a fan of Cold K and said that from the beginning that she was a fan of that girl music. But now you got beef with her. But if one of her songs come on or if she perform, you probably going to be bopping. Like, that's embarrassing. And it's only embarrassing because it's like Dolly actually likes Diamond's song, but nobody actually likes Dolly's song. So like Ivory said, the Joburg hosting was a success, and then it cuts to the next day. We see Natalie and DTB on the phone. They talking about great minds think alike because they both got purple hair. Y'all know damn well y'all don't like each other, so just get this fake ass scene out the way. But basically, Natalie called DTB to let her know that they're going to be going to a cultural village today, and Natalie also says that she's thinking about promoting DTB to being a house leader like Scotty and Rolly are. So basically treating her like an EP without her having the EP title and the EP money. Having somebody else doing your job like Scotty and Rolly are doing your job. Like I'm going to keep saying. Because somebody tried to comment on my review last week and was saying like EPs don't have to be on set. That's not what an EP does. On a reality show, an EP is there to create storylines and push drama in real time. And they're supposed to do it behind the scenes so that it's not obvious to us that the drama is being curated and staged and scripted. Natalie being on camera messes that up. That's number one. That's how we know that most of this is staged and scripted, because she's not doing her EP job behind the scenes like she needs to do it. Secondly, she should be on set, but not necessarily on camera, because she's supposed to be the one that's pushing the storylines and doing the work if she's the one getting the money and the title. But it seems like Scotty and Rolly are the ones who have been in the house consistently for the past couple seasons actually doing that work. Like I said, Jocelyn is clearly always on set at her show. Mona Scott Young was on set until Love and Hip Hop got well within its seasons on each franchise. She was always there. Carlos King be on set at his shows. And Lemmy be on set at all of these shows. So why shouldn't Natalie? Anyways, from there we cut to Dolly and Lex, and Dolly has an eye patch on her eye. I'm assuming Tavii gave her this eye damage, but she's going to say it came from something else later. So we'll get into that when we get into that. So Dolly basically says she imagined Africa to be, people walking around with stuff on their heads and things like that, things that she heard when she was a kid. But she says she's been seeing like a lot of Western Americanized stuff. Like it just looked like America. But I think that's because they're in the rich part. Obviously they staying in a mansion. So she basically saying like she want to go to the hood or like just the normal middle class life and just see how people are living in the villages. So then Dolly and Lex start talking about how they miss Summer. They're trying to call Summer. She's not answering them. And they're like, oh my God, why is she not answering us? Like, yeah, y'all running out of storylines. Y'all don't got nothing to do without Summer. Y'all need her to come back and spice y'all up again and bring y'all back to light on the show. Because right now, y'all just nitpicking for problems anywhere y'all can find them. Y'all always being Summer bodyguards. Like, that's all y'all got. And clearly, Summer don't want to talk to y'all right now. She probably like, damn, bitch, fend for yourself. Let me see what y'all can do without me. And Dolly started saying, oh, I don't want people to think that we the weakest links because we down one. It's a bunch of trios. So she like, now it's only two of us. So like I said, they worried about Summer coming back. They want her to come back so they can have the numbers. So then Lex starts saying she knows it's going to be some stuff with her and Tavii today because the last time they saw each other, Tavii basically got beat up. She was looking for the ground. She fell to her knees and Dolly took her chain. So then Dolly said Tavii's not getting the chain. He need a bad boy's chain. So basically calling Tavii a man. And Lex says she don't give a F about the chain, but I guess because Dolly got the eye patch, she's ready to step up for Dolly. And Dolly did clock what I said, that at the beginning of the season, Tavii was trying to get into Dolly, Summer, and Lex's room. She did take her name tag off her original room and try to run in there. Like I said, she was just trying to go from click to click and find where she could fit in. And clearly, Dolly didn't want to fit in with her. Dolly said, I don't trust you hoes. I don't know you hoes. Like, and I'm not doing that again this season. I'm not really being a girl's girl. I'm not here to get to know new bitches. I already got my 2 friends, and I'm going to stick to them. Now, I am going to insert a clip right here. Elsie did go live and say that the real reason Lex had a problem with Tavii was because Tavii almost got everybody's phone taken away. So similar to what happened with Janellis and Natalie on Baddies Gone Wild, where Natalie kind of said, well, I'm taking everybody's phone because of this person. So some people got mad at that person. Now, Elsie is a liar, but I do believe what she said because I was following the tea before the season dropped. Tavii did post something before we knew who she was, before we knew anybody else. And she said she got bit on the cast. She didn't say who bit her, but she said she got bit, and she posted a bite mark. And Elsie said that the production saw that, they got mad and was like, you're not supposed to be posting nothing. So they threatened to take everybody's phone. And Lex was mad about that. So Elsie is trying to say that's the real reason Lex was fighting Tavii. If that's the case, then the show edited badly, and it made Lex look bad. It made Lex look like she was just stepping up for Dolly. And it made Dolly look bad. Like, it made Dolly look scary. So I don't know what's true or what's not, but I'm going to just insert it because that's the other story and the alleged other reason that Lex and Tavii end up fighting again.
Lex called out Tavii, and I remember Tavii was, like, speaking on her breast. She was mad because, like, you know, Lex called her out. It was like, you got us in trouble. You're the reason why we can't even have our phones out because there was an incident. I think she posted, like, a bite mark or something in regards to, like, a fight that happened, and production didn't like that shit because we're not supposed to be posting when we are filming. So that's literally what happened. So like when she was like, I guess fighting with Lex, and she was like, oh, you're fighting me for no reason, my nigga. You're fighting me for no reason. She is fighting you for a reason because you literally, you got us in trouble. Like you literally are the reason why we weren't allowed to, you know, have phones and stuff like that. And then on top of that, it's like, when Lex walked away, like Tavii had so much shit to say under her breath after Lex called her out on that. So that's why they fought. They fought because one, you know, Tavii had a lot to say when we were eating dinner at the Zulu thing. And then two, Lex felt like Tavii would pick on us and she will pipe up on us, but when it's time for her to pipe on the people she needs to pipe up on, she doesn't do it. You feel me? And then she acts like, oh, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand this narrative. Whatever.
Then we get a scene of Ivory, Diamond, and Pretty P. Ivory is asking Diamond, do she want to smoke? Diamond says she don't smoke. Ivory said you need to smoke. And then Pretty P basically let them know that her grandfather passed away. She got emotional and kind of ended up walking away for a moment. And Ivory was like, you know, I don't know how she's going to be able to deal with this. Like, is she going to be able to come back? Because obviously she's going to leave to go to the funeral. But nobody really knows if she's going to come back or not. It's just going to depend on how she feels after she processes everything and goes home with her family. This scene was really sad. I did not like seeing Pretty P cry. My condolences to her for losing her grandfather. Okay, so the next scene we get is with Elsie, Choco, and Fauna sitting down. So when they sat down, Choco was like, do y'all like my room? And they was like, yeah, you got a real nice room. And Choco said, yeah, my room is fit for an African queen. And Elsie said, hold up now, you need to say a Nigerian queen. We already talked about this. So, you know, they have their little banter back and forth. But I did like that Choco said in her confessional, we're African and we're going to stick together. Like, it might be a little shade here and there, but she don't see herself really getting into no beef or fighting with Elsie just off the strength of the fact that they're African. And they're the only two native Africans on the show. So then Choco and Elsie were basically explaining to Fauna that even though they're both African, Elsie's from Zimbabwe and Choco is from Nigeria, they speak different languages, but certain expressions or words are the same. Like, oh my God has the same word for both languages. Fauna asked Choco, did she get her money from the talent show yet? Choco says she hasn't gotten it, but she will. Girl, you probably won't. Then it cuts to Tavii coming to join Ivory and Diamond. Eventually, Pretty P comes back out as well. Tavii says she feels like she looks like an avatar. She's not used to this. This never happened to her before. So basically, she never got beat up before, or she never had a fight where anybody left that kind of damage. Well, welcome to Baddies. Ivory asked Tavii, do she still got smoke with Dolly and Lex? She said, of course, because she need her chain. And Diamond says she understands where Tavii is coming from. Like, they stole her chain. They snatched her chain. It's disrespectful, and they stole something from her. So then it cuts back to the scene with Elsie, Fauna, and Choco. And Fauna asks Choco, like, are you still going to keep beefing with DTV, or are you going to let it go? Like, you didn't get your apology. We in a new house. I feel like you should just give her a chance and get to know her, because y'all basically had beef from the beginning over something that was a misunderstanding. And Choco basically said she feel like she could have a conversation with Diamond and see where it goes. So hopefully we get that soon. I feel like they could let this beef go. It's stupid. They fought. The fights were cute, but let's not drag it. And when I say the fights were cute, I don't literally mean cute. I mean like they weren't epic. They were alright. They were cute, but not worth them continuing to drag it on. From there, we see Scotty walking back into the house. She's returning from the hospital from her anxiety attack, and she's looking for Rolly. She's screaming Rolly's name. Rolly is not answering her, and Rolly said in her confessional, "Girl, I know you can read the damn name tags on the room." So Scotty finally finds Rolly, and Rolly was like, "Girl, what was wrong with you?" Scotty was like, "Oh, turns out I have anxiety." Rolly was looking at her like, "Girl, you been had anxiety. That's why you got Capri. Like, we all know you had anxiety. What's new?" But from there, Scotty is basically asking Rolly to catch her up and let her know what she missed while she wasn't in the house. So Rolly told Scotty about Lex and Tavii fighting and Dolly jumping in and them taking Tavi's chain. And like we all said, Scotty's confused just like the rest of us were, because the day that Tavii got the chain, Lex and Dolly were hugging her and congratulating her. And then the next day they had a problem. So Scotty's looking around Rolly's room, and Rolly's like, "Yeah, I got 2 tubs, I got a jacuzzi, this, that, and the third." And Scotty is acting like she feel like Rolly's room is going to be better than hers. I never understand why. I get why Natalie has a better room than Scotty, but Rolly always seems to have a better room than Scotty too. And it's just like, Scotty, you're opening your legs. What's going on? Anyway, Scotty pulls some weed out of her bag, and she's like, "Yeah, I still have this." So Rolly takes it and stashes it in her bra. And Scotty's like, "Don't forget we're sharing that." And Rolly was like, "Sharing what?" And Scotty was like, "That weed." Rolly said, "What weed?" So then they started play fighting over the weed, and the scene basically ended there. It was a cute scene. You know, we always like to see Scotty and Rolly. They've come a long way. I love their friendship. They're 2 of my favorite girls on the show. And sadly, I think Rolly is done. So this is the last we'll be seeing of Rolly this season, so I'm taking it in. And let's just say allegedly, because I still don't know if I 100% believe Rolly is going to leave. I'm about 80% sure that she's actually done this time, but we'll just have to see. So then we finally see the girls on their way out to the cultural village. I loved how Pretty P, Diamond, and Ivory had on like their traditional African outfits. I felt like Rolly looked cute too. Like, it wasn't a revealing look. It was a cute look to me. And basically, of course, the girls get on their 2 separate buses, and they're going to have their conversations. So Ivory, Rolly, and a lot of the other girls are saying that they're excited to actually get to know about Africa and get to know about the culture. And I will say that Zeus did put in some time and effort with this episode. This actually was a decent episode. And I do feel like they took more time in Africa than they took in like the Caribbean and other places they've gone to give us some information about the history and the culture. Like, I actually learned some stuff from watching this episode, which is surprising to say from Zeus. So on Tavi's bus, which is with Rolly, Scotty, Ivory, Pretty P, Cole K, Fauna, and K Rican, Tavii is basically saying, Lex and Dolly playing themselves, and I need my chain today. And y'all know Tavii was very serious about the chain. She was breaking down crying when she got it. And she's like, you know, I worked for this. It was blood, sweat, and tears. So Scotty was basically saying that she does feel like at this point Tavi's chain would be considered stolen. Like, yeah, at first it got snatched, but now everybody knows that Dolly has it and she's refusing to give it back. So now Dolly's in the thief category. Pretty P decides to step up and say, no, there's a difference. My chain got stolen. Her chain got snatched. I don't know what the point of that was, Pretty P. Either way, they disrespected both of y'all. And I like Pretty P, but it's just like, girl, you haven't really been given much this season. You're about to leave for a couple episodes, and now you're just saying some random shit that I just feel like was unnecessary. But I'm gonna let it slide. You're going through a lot right now. Rolly asked Tavii again, how did she feel about Russian and Elsie not helping her when she was getting jumped? Tavii basically said she didn't really expect Elsie to jump in because she already knew Elsie was scary by that point, but she expected Russian to jump in because Russian be talking behind the scenes like, oh, I got your back, I'm with the shits, this, that, and the third. So then on the other bus is Dolly, Lex, Diamond, Russian, Elsie, and Choco. And Russian asked Dolly, what happened to your eye? And Dolly said, why you worried about my eye, ho? And Russian is so soft. She gonna say, yes, I am worried about you. Dolly said, don't be worried about me, bitch. Like, Russian just be letting them talk to her any kind of way. She's really just like Elsie. Like, she need to be off the show. She first came on the show trying to have a little bit of a backbone. But after Rolly did what she did to her, it's like she don't want to fight nobody no more. So Dolly claims Tavii didn't do this to her eye. Lex was doing her hair and Lex poked her in the eye. Lex was smiling in a way that looked like she knew Dolly was lying and she felt like it was funny, but she wasn't going to obviously say like, Dolly, you're lying, because that's her friend. That's what I saw. I feel like Tavii did that to Dolly's eye and she's making up this lie that Lex did it while doing her hair or whatever. I mean, while Dolly was doing Lex's hair. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all know Dolly's the hairstylist. So Diamond asked Lex where did she stand with Tavii, and she said she felt like Tavii was gonna need that again and want that again, so she was gonna give it to her. And Diamond said, well, I did talk to Tavii today, and she feel like deep down y'all mad about the chain, and that's what it was really about. Dolly and Lex saying, oh, that's not what it was about. And Dolly said, yeah, that's not what it was about, but the opportunity presented itself, so I just snatched it. Like, Dolly's a bum. Why is that even on your mind? So from there, we see Natalie and the rest of the baddies arriving to the cultural village. When the girls get out, they have people drumming for them and locals dancing for them. They start dancing with the locals and they get introduced to their tour guide. So then Natalie basically makes an announcement to everybody like, you know, I just want to let you guys know I did have a conversation with Pretty P earlier. She lost her grandfather, so she's going to be going away to go to the funeral. But she basically let Pretty P know like the door is always open for you to come back. We love you and we hope that you will come back after you get yourself together. So Ivory and Diamond started consoling her and hugging her, and then the rest of the girls eventually joined and it became like a group hug kind of situation. It was nice to see some actual sisterhood that they always talking about amongst the girls. And Pretty P basically said in her confessional she's definitely going home to make sure her grandfather gets sent off the right way, but at the end of the day, this is her job right now. This is how she makes her money. And she said that her grandfather would want her to come back because life goes on. She was on TV and he was excited for her. So then Natalie's like, oh, and I wanted to address the incident with Summer, but they're still not really going into detail about it on the show. But we all know Summer got into it with one of the security guards at Zeus. The security guard hit Summer and she had some facial damage that allegedly made her unrecognizable for a little while. So they felt like she shouldn't be filmed. So Lex is like, you know, Natalie's talking about Summer right now and I'm getting emotional, this, that, and the third. Natalie's basically saying Summer wants to return. Ivory looks irritated. Cold K just has this numb look on her face and she basically was like, I don't F with Summer, so I don't give a fuck about this. Then Natalie lets them know that their first celebrity guest is coming in right now. Everybody was excited because they like, oh, who is it going to be? Mind you, Marissa is who walks in. Like, not even a celebrity for real. A celebrity baby mom. I would have been like, who is this? Like, you had me excited thinking that one of the real celebrities was about to come in. Like, at least Amber Rose is a real celebrity. I'm not a fan of her, but she's actually a celebrity. Like, Marissa is not a celebrity. I guess she's an influencer. But anyway, when Marissa comes in, she hugs Russian as if she already knows her. We'll get into that soon. I think maybe on the next episode, if not this one. But long story short, Russian and Marissa used to mess around. And Marissa introduces herself. Her introduction was pretty boring, but she says she's Big Mama. And we know she's NLE Chopper's baby mom. So let's just see what she's going to give. Now, I will say Dolly looked like a hater when Marissa came in. Like, why are you standing like that? Look at how Lex is looking at the girl. She's looking at her with smiles, welcoming, and Dolly is just looking like a gremlin. Like, Dolly has the darkest energy ever. So the tour guide basically tells them before anything, we're going to let you guys go into the gift shop so that y'all could get some souvenirs and stuff. So we got to see all of the girls enjoying that. It was actually nice to see. Like I said, this was a pretty good episode. It had some substance to it rather than just all fighting. And you could tell that the girls were really trying to learn and engage with the culture. So after they leave the shop, they start walking towards the Zulu village with the tour guide. Choco said that she felt like he was a really cute guy. And when they got to the entrance, he basically let them know that they had to ask for permission in the Zulu tribe to enter the village. And he said the Zulu people like to fight. They're very aggressive, and if you enter into their village without permission, you're going to be in big trouble. So sounds very similar to the baddies. But he told them, don't worry, I'm a Zulu, so I could grant y'all permission, and he brought them in. And Dolly was like, yeah, I'm scared. I don't need no karma coming back on me. Make sure I could come in. So from there, he showed them the Zulu handshake, how they greet each other. Elsie and Choco kind of got it easily because I think they've probably done it before. Dolly was struggling. Then he was telling him how they keep the cows in the middle of the village, and that's for security, like, so everybody kind of knows where the cows are, and pretty much everybody can always have an eye on the cow because it's right in the middle of the village. So somebody's always looking at it. And he said in their culture, if you don't have a cow, you're not really considered like a financially stable man. And he said without a cow, you can't get a wife. So they were asking him how many cows he had, and he said he's not married and he's still working to get a cow. So Choco was like, oh, why don't you have cows in her confessional? So I guess she don't want him no more. He also was telling them that in their culture, you know, they can marry as many wives as they want, but it depends on how rich you are or how many cows you have. The girls wasn't trying to hear that. They was like, multiple wives is a chop, and I agree. Then he basically told them that in their culture, women's clothing basically lets you know if they're single or not. If a woman is wearing the short skirt with the beaded attire like this woman here, that means they're single. And she was carrying the pot on her head like what Dolly said she was expecting to see. And he explained that, you know, they do go and fetch water using the pot because there's no tap water like running water faucets in the village. And he was also telling them about the traditional drinks they have, like a beer and a tea. And then he said, now this woman is basically what would represent a married woman's attire. You can see she's very covered up. She also had a skirt that went below her knees. Then he said that this red hat she had on symbolizes a wedding ring. So I don't know if in their culture they only get the red hat and not the wedding ring, because that would be crazy. Hopefully they get both. And he said ladies are not allowed to take the hat off during the day or during the night. They even sleep with it. I'm like, at some point they got to take it off. I know they washing their hair at some point. Then he takes them to the main kitchen, and he basically says this one kitchen is for the whole village. And he also says it's one woman who cooks for the whole village. And Dolly was like, I know she tired. I was like, yeah, that's like the lunch lady. Damn, she cooking for the whole school. But you know, even the lunch lady, it'd be multiple people on one team. One lady cooking for a whole village is crazy. So from there, he let them know that this was the end of the village tour. And you could tell that the ladies really didn't want the tour to end. Like, they wanted to learn more. They asked if they could go inside and look in the kitchen. And he told them it was really dark and small, but they did go in and we got a little peek at it. You could see the fire burning. And from there, we transition into this hall where there are people dancing and there's like some drums set up. The girls end up coming in and joining and sitting at the drums and watching the people perform, basically. So Lex started feeling it. She got up and started dancing with the dancers, doing splits, putting her legs over her head. Natalie said in her confessional, this is reminding me of the strip club. I thought you played basketball, bitch. But it was kind of nice to see Lex show some personality again, like we was kind of seeing from her at the beginning of Midwest. Because lately she's been coming off like a real angry, ugly gremlin, just like Summer and Dolly. Because then we also had the girls up here dancing with the dancers. K. Regan was really enjoying herself. Then with one of the dances that they were doing, they were stamping their feet on the floor really hard. And Marissa was like, I know they motherfucking feet hurt because they don't got no shoes on. That was a little funny. Hopefully we get to see more of her personality and she's not just on here fighting Summer, because I know that's going to happen. But I hope that's not like her whole storyline. So from there, they wrap up their day at the cultural village, and Natalie lets them know that they're going out tonight. But, you know, she says her infamous line, some people have some stuff to get off their chest, and we have to do it before we go to the club. So, of course, Tavii says she has something to get off her chest, and immediately Lex starts putting her hair up, and she's like, Dolly, run my chain. Dolly sticks up her middle finger like, I'm not giving you nothing, but she doesn't say anything. She just literally sticks up the middle finger and laughs. So then Tavii is asking who has some sneakers, and she like is sitting right next to Scotty. So she's like, Scotty, give me your sneakers. Scotty gonna say in her confessional, oh, I have Balenciagas on. You should have asked Ivory for her sneakers. Then why did you give them up, Scotty? Like... So Tavii telling Dolly, you just mad you don't got no chain. They going back and forth. Meanwhile, Lex is getting up. And Tavi's like, Lex, why are you getting up? You trying to fight me for no reason. So Lex is saying Dolly can't see because she got the eye patch on. But like I said, y'all also could decide if y'all want to take into account what Elsie said in the clip I showed y'all earlier, as far as Lex being mad that Tavii almost got everybody's phone taken away. So Lex was trying to get to Tavii before she even had her sneakers on. Scotty had to step in between them like, okay, let her put her shoes on, be fair. But eventually Lex and Tavii square up, and that's where the episode ends. Okay, so for Baddies Africa episode 9, my least valuable OG is Natalie. My most valuable OG is Diamond. My least valuable Nugie is Dolly. My most valuable Nugie is Ivory. Least valuable newbies are Russian and Elsie. And most valuable newbies are Tavii and Choco. Okay guys, so that's the end of my Baddies Africa episode 9 review / recap. I'll see y'all soon for Baddies Africa episode 10 and Baddies Going Wild episode 10. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. And if you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. I'll see y'all later. Bye.